Have you ever been absolutely terrible at something? You wanted to succeed at more than anything in the world. I mean, pouring your heart and soul into it, only to find yourself stuck at the very bottom, looking up at everyone else wondering what they know that you don't. This is the story of Alex Carter, and if you've ever felt that frustration, his journey might just change how you see your own. Alex was a junior sales consultant at a mid-sized firm right here in Dallas, Texas. Imagine a busy sales floor, buzzing with energy, the sound of calls being made, and the occasional cheer of a deal being closed. On that floor, there were 21 sales reps. Every single month, a leaderboard was posted, ranking everyone by performance. And every single month, Alex Carter's name was at the very bottom. Number 21 out of 21. He was a permanent resident of last place. While his colleagues were hitting their targets, celebrating bonuses, and planning vacations, Alex was just trying to scrape by. He was barely covering his rent. And the worst part? It wasn't because he was lazy. In fact, he was probably the hardest worker on the floor. He was exhausted. His days were a blur of cold calls that went nowhere, long hours that stretched into the evening, and a constant loop of motivational podcasts playing in his car, promising a breakthrough that never seemed to come. He put in more effort than most, and yet, he was still failing, spectacularly. Across the room, in a stark contrast to Alex's frantic energy, sat Jason Miller. Jason was the company's top performer, a legend on the sales floor. He was the epitome of cool, calm, and collected. He was focused, consistent, and he closed deals with the smooth precision of a clockmaker. While Alex was flailing, Jason was thriving. One Tuesday afternoon, the moment Alex had been dreading finally arrived. His manager, a decent guy named Mark, pulled him aside. Mark looked tired, almost apologetic. He said, "Alex, I see the effort you're putting in. I really do. But effort matters, and results matter more. If things don't improve soon, we're going to have to make a tough decision." The message was clear. Improve or you're out. The clock was ticking. That night was a low point. Alex sat alone in his car in the near-empty company parking lot, the city lights reflecting off his windshield. He pulled out his phone and stared at his banking app. The numbers stared back, cold and unforgiving. 2 months of savings left. Maybe less, if he was honest with himself. The thought of quitting felt like a heavy weight in his chest. Going back to his old warehouse job, the one he'd worked so hard to leave, suddenly felt like a safe, comforting option. It was predictable. It was stable. It was everything his current life was not. But in that moment of despair, something inside him shifted. Instead of giving up, instead of driving home and polishing his old resume, he made a quiet, firm decision. A decision that would change everything. He decided to stop trying to sell. Now, this sounds counterintuitive, right? A salesperson deciding to stop selling. But Alex realized his current approach was a dead end. So, he didn't go ask Jason for some secret script or magic bullet. He didn't sign up for another expensive online course promising to triple his income overnight. He just watched. For the next 60 days, Alex became a student of Jason Miller. He didn't study what Jason said. He studied what Jason did. He observed his habits, his mannerisms, his process. And what he noticed changed everything. The first difference was speed. Alex always rushed. The second a lead came in, he was on the phone, pitching his product, convinced that speed was the key. He thought if he got to them first, he'd win. Jason, on the other hand, slowed the entire process down. When a new lead came in, Jason wouldn't pitch. Instead, he would ask one simple, powerful question. What made you start looking for a solution in the first place? And then, he did the most important thing. He listened. He didn't just listen for a few seconds, waiting for his turn to talk. He listened for minutes. He let the client tell their story, vent their frustrations, and explain their needs in their own words. The second difference was options. Alex, in his eagerness to please, would overwhelm clients with choices. He'd lay out every feature, every package, every possible combination. Thinking more options meant a better chance of a sale. Jason did the opposite. He showed fewer choices, sometimes only one or two, but he made each option feel tailor-made for that specific client, directly addressing the problems they had just shared with him. It wasn't about showing everything, it was about showing the right thing. The third and perhaps most crucial difference was the follow-up. When a client told Alex, "I'll think about it," that's where the conversation usually died. Alex would maybe send one follow-up email and then, fearing he was being pushy, he'd let the lead go cold. He was afraid of annoying them. Jason, however, so I'll think about it as the beginning of the next phase. He followed up calmly, consistently, and without pressure. He wasn't chasing. He was guiding. He'd send a relevant article, check in to see if they had any new questions, and just stay present. He was building a relationship, not just trying to close a transaction. The real eye-opener came one day when Alex saw Jason close a deal with a client. Alex himself had failed to win just weeks before. Same company, same product, same price point. The only variable was the approach. Alex had pitched and pushed. Jason had listened and guided. That night, sitting in his car again, but this time with a sense of clarity instead of despair, Alex faced the hard truth. He wasn't losing because he lacked skill or because the product was bad. He was losing because he was completely focused on himself. He was focused on hitting his quota, making his commission, and proving he was a good salesperson. He wasn't focused on the client at all. His entire process was about his own needs, not theirs. And so, the shift began. Alex took everything he had learned from watching Jason and completely rewrote how he worked. He stopped trying to sound smart and impressive. He stopped using jargon and buzzwords. Instead, he started trying to be genuinely useful. He printed out a simple list and taped it to his monitor, a daily reminder of his new philosophy. Over time, these notes solidified into 5 core principles. First, listen more than you talk. Simple, but revolutionary for Alex. He made it a rule to let the client speak for the first 5 minutes of any call, without interruption. Second, treat every lead like a future relationship, not a one-time transaction. This changed his entire perspective on follow-up. Third, solve problems, don't push products. He started seeing himself as a consultant, a problem solver, not a vendor. Fourth, follow-up is where trust is built. He learned that consistent, helpful contact shows you care beyond the sale. And fifth, help people even when there's no immediate payoff. He started offering advice and resources to people who weren't even a good fit for his product, building goodwill and a reputation for being a helpful expert. The results weren't instantaneous. It wasn't a movie montage where he became a superstar overnight. The first month of his new approach, he closed just one small deal. It was a start, but barely enough to keep his manager at bay. But he stuck with it. Month 2, he closed 3 deals. Better. He could breathe a little easier. Month 3, he closed 6 deals, and more importantly, he started getting referrals. People he had helped were now sending their friends and colleagues his way. On the leaderboard, Alex began to climb. He moved from 21st to 10th, then to 6th. A year later, he wasn't just safe, he was one of the top performers on the floor. He was calm, he was focused, he was consistent. He had become what he once admired from afar. One afternoon, as Alex was wrapping up a call, Jason Miller walked by his desk. He paused, leaned in, and said quietly, "You figured it out." Most people never do. And then he just walked away. That small moment of recognition felt better than any bonus check. The lesson in Alex's story is powerful. Success isn't some hidden secret locked away in a vault that only a chosen few can access. It's observable. It's all around you. You don't need a new, secret tactic from a guru. You just need a dose of humility and the willingness to learn. Someone in your office, in your industry, in your online community, already has the results you want. Your job isn't to reinvent the wheel. It's to study their actions, not just their words. Understand the fundamental principles behind their success. Apply those fundamentals with relentless consistency. Stay the course, even when the results are slow to appear. Alex Carter didn't win by working harder. He was already working harder than anyone. He won by working smarter. He won by shifting his focus from himself to others. And the best part of this story? So can you? Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you work smarter, not just harder. See you in the next video.